There's nothing that will be hidden eventually. It all will show up. And I think all of these issues of these people show up eventually. We see them for who they are. Now, me and Diane, it looks like we maybe have a shot at an honest, straightforward, completely generous and vulnerable relationship.
Amazing job on this film. I think it's such a fantastic film about love and all of its complications.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and I feel like I found myself, at least I found myself looking at your guys' all the characters through each lens at different points in the film. This film does a great job of balancing the real moments of comedy and real authentic moments of the heart as well. Susan, your character, Monica, completely cracked me up. Can you talk to me about crafting that character? I mean, she's a little vindictive, but she's so relatable.
I love her. I mean, she is disruptive, which I love. And it just was very freeing to be also working with Richard, because I could hear the rhythms that these characters were going to have. And I knew that I could rock that. And I knew that with him, it would be a good counterpoint. And I hadn't worked with Bill before. I had worked with Diane, but I really loved her character only in relationship to everybody else. I mean, I don't know if you'd want to watch a whole film of just her, but the fact that she was made funnier by everybody else, and I think that worked for the whole cast. So I was excited to do it. There were certain lines I just couldn't wait to say.
Absolutely. Now, Richard, absolutely. Richard, Maybe I Do really shows the importance of communication and intimacy, both emotional and physical. Can you talk to me a little bit about Howard and his struggle with his wife, Grace, played by Diane Keaton, and why it's so important to show those ramifications of losing this kind of this element in a marriage?
Well, I think they just stopped communicating. They just. I'm just flashing on the scene when we just had the scene in the movie where we basically say it's over.
Right.
And I come home. And I walk in quietly, like it looks like I've done every night. She's just come in from having a moment with somebody else. And we play it out as if we have to fool our partner,
right,
and not communicate. That it's more important not to communicate than to communicate. But the surface of it seems everything is fine, everything is the way it should be. It's a matured, older couple, that everything's in its place. Of course, it isn't.
Now, next question I have for you guys is Michael Jacobs. He's amazing. He created so many shows that I grew up watching, like Charles in Charge, Dinosaurs, Boy Meets World. But this is his directorial feature debut. Can you talk to me about what his directing style added to Maybe I Do?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing was his casting. I mean, it's pretty hard to get in there and fix something if you're starting off with the wrong people. And I think that the casting really did everything. I mean, I think that, and also people that aren't screwed up and, know their lines and are not competitive.
This has been a theme of what you've said, this thing of showing up and knowing your lines.
Oh,
Did you find that as a problem?
Not for me.
In general. No, not from you.
Oh, yeah,
really.
Yeah, that exists. That exists. And also the best trick is when you do a scene and then the reverse happens and the person now does something completely different. That's a bad trick. That's a bad trick. But anyway, this group was not that. And so I think his strongest point was this ensemble that he created was just beautiful. And the kids too, not just the four of us. But they had a lot to move in terms of that dialogue, and their dilemma is the grounding for this other whirlwind that's going on, and and Emma, I think, really did an amazing job, and Luke.
Oh yeah, they're brilliant. Now, Richard, what do you think Maybe I Do says about love, happiness, and marriage?
Love.
Look, I think it's all about communication. All of this is. I mean, it's like Susan's character is loud saying, does anyone see me? Right. And I'll make myself even bigger so there's no confusion here. Does anyone see me? And I'm a completely internalized character in this who has a running monologue where he seems to understand his own crisis.
Right.
And he's correct up to a point of his own analysis of himself and the world. But I don't think anyone is strong enough or safe enough to just be themselves completely, honestly in the present.
Oh, 100%.
And that's the process of this. Everyone eventually has to show up. You know, my sister's a therapist, and we were talking the other night, and it's everyone knows this, but it was shocking in this. She said, look, eventually everything comes up. There's nothing that will be hidden eventually. It all will show up. And I think all of these issues of these people show up eventually. We see them for who they are. Now, me and Diane, it looks like we maybe have a shot at an honest, straightforward, completely generous and vulnerable relationship.
But look, guys, amazing job on the film. This is a beautifully crafted script. It's beautifully acted. Amazing job. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.